Greetings and welcome to the Healthy Sales Chick Show. I am Nancy White, the host of this show, and here we love to talk about our healthy mind, our body, and our spirit. And we need to nurture all three every single day, or one of those areas are going to start letting us know about it. As my dear friend Paula Fillingham, the founder of Win Win Women TV, always says, we welcome you with open arms and open hearts. I have a question for you. How are your cells? Are they happy and healthy from head to toe? Well, this is a place where we want to find ways to nourish and continually maintain that good, happy, healthy cells. And I absolutely love having guests to share their expertise and their knowledge because, everything that we do affects our mind, our body, and our spirit, either positively or negatively. And here we love to talk about our physical and our financial health. So we have a beautiful financial coach, Monique Gilliam, and I am so grateful for you taking time to be with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I am so honored and excited to be here tonight. Just looking forward to our discussion and seeing what information we can help people with.
Absolutely. And that's why we are still here, is to help others and to come alongside to encourage, inspire, and educate. But our topic tonight, we're going to talk about financial literacy and generational wealth and its effect on our future, not only our future, but the future generation of our children and grandchildren. But Monique Gilliam is a transplant from New Jersey. She's also in and around the Charlotte area where I am. But she is from New Jersey with a Southern charm. And yes, she has such a heart of gold. She's the mother of two, and she also is a grandmother of five. Oh my gosh, she does not look like she's a grandmother of five. But anyway, we were talking fun before we got on the air about just some of the fun things with her children and grandchildren and all their dogs. But she's always had a passion for helping people, and that is what led her to financial services. And there is such a need, not only financial education, but again, financial solutions that everyday people can access and have access to. And you know what? One shoe does not fit all. And she does an amazing job finding out what it is to be able to help people on that individual business. But she's been in the service for over 10 years. And her goal, again, is to help as many families as possible, not only to achieve financial stability, but also financial wholeness, where they can live the life of their dreams for themselves and their children. So I am so grateful, Monique, again for you coming. And would you please just share just a little bit about what has led you on this journey to where you are now?
Thank you, Nancy, so much. The thing that led me on this journey, I think it started when I was younger. Always wanting to, when you're a kid and I think there was a show years ago called Lifestyles that Are Rich and Famous. And you kind of start there. You're like, oh, I want to be like them, but they never told you how they got there.
Mm.
And then you start seeing things. So as I got older, I've always been what I call a numbers head. So numbers always made sense to me. And as I started learning about the numbers, I started learning about, especially in this business, what people really needed.
Mhm.
But the problem was there wasn't too many resources out there that people were aware of that they could use. If you go to most financial institutions, especially like for a mutual fund, they want you to have ten to $20,000. The average American doesn't have that, and especially in this economy, $20,000 might as well be 20 billion to someone who is just working, not even paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to Monday.
Yeah.
So what my thing was, and I've always loved to help people. That's always every I was told I was mothering since I was 6. So I've always had that. But then when I came into this business and I saw the need, and with being able to have access to resources to not only help people just get out of debt, but to get them on that road to, again, financial stability, financial wholeness, but not just for themselves, but for their children. Because the thing I'm seeing is that each generation is starting at zero.
Mhm.
And if we don't change that, that is going to cause huge financial issues because remember, we were talking about getting older and Social Security. Well, there's Social Security may not be there for us because there's not enough people under us working to feed into the system. So we have to have things in place that will cover two areas of our lives. And I always say there's two sides to a coin. We have to have things in our life if we live too long or if we die too soon. Being able to show families and put plans together, individual plans for families to help them achieve that goal, that makes me happy because, again, when you know better, you do better. But a lot of
Absolutely.
people don't even know that this is even available to them. So for me, that has been my crusade to one, let people know that you don't have to die in debt. You don't have to retire and then 2 years later go back to work because you don't have any more retirement money left. It's a joke I told and everybody stole my joke that it's the angry greeter at Walmart because they're angry because they had to go back to work. They were, when you think about it, Nancy, you've given a job 30, 40, 50 years of your life
Mhm.
and you don't have enough money to last 10. That's not the way God planned us to live. That's not living, that's surviving.
Mhm.
And again, it is my goal, my passion, my crusade to help people not be on that side of the spectrum where if they want to go away, if they want to go to Hawaii, they can just go. They have investment, they have life insurance, and their family is taken care of financially. That's the legacy that I want to help people leave for their families because most people they leave bills. So
Yeah.
that means the family has to mourn you twice. They have to mourn you physically and they have to mourn you financially.
Mhm.
My crusade is to end that.
Well, I just admire you so much, Monique. And you said something, and it just, you said, when you were 6, you started mothering and you started doing things. So, in your opinion, because I agree with you completely, when I graduated from high school decades ago, we never had any financial training. We never even had anything mentioned about it at all. And growing up, my mother was, she had 4 children. And so when my father died when I was 9 and he left her, she didn't even know how to write a check or pay bills. And that is something that, just like what you're talking about, your crusade. So I have a question for you. How old do you think children are when they should start learning about money?
I think that's a training to start, I'll say, I'll say kindergarten. Once they've learned to start
Mhm.
reading, you start with little things because what do we all have when we're little kids? A piggy bank.
Mhm.
Start there. It's a small thing because here's the thing. The more money literate a child is, when they get to high school, and this is what I always say, when our kids get to college, the credit card vultures are waiting. They'll give a child a credit card with no job but won't give you a credit card with 3 jobs because they already know it's instant debt. So
Mhm.
now you have college graduates with credit card debt, student loan debt. So they're already starting behind the 8 ball because
Mhm.
I believe that financial literacy should be taught from kindergarten to high school.
Absolutely. And I can tell you that with myself and my 3 brothers, we didn't just get an allowance. We had to do our chores to get our quarter. And so,
That's right.
and that's teaching children too that, when they say, money doesn't grow on trees. Well, money is a tool and we have to work for the tool and then we have to use that tool to make money and invest. And so that's all part of what you're doing, getting to the basics and the foundation and learning, what about money? How do you get it? And then what do you do with it? And so as you continually are on your crusade, then what has been one of the most challenging things that you have come across too, Monique, when you are talking with people, just like you said, they had that false notion that they had to have all this money to investigate or whatever. But, really, when people get to know you and you are working with them, you look at where they are right now and see where they're spending, where they, what they're doing. And, people go, oh, a budget. Ah, and I'm sitting there going, all a budget's doing is showing you where you are choosing to put your money.
hmm there's a scripture that says, "Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is." A
Mhm.
lot of people's treasures in Burger King and McDonald's, unfortunately. But the thing is, the biggest thing I run into is the misconception about insurance and the misconception about investing.
Mhm.
Most people think life insurance is just to bury them. That's not life insurance, that's burial insurance.
Mhm.
Life insurance, we call that the last love letter you leave your family because that's how your family will continue on. We can't bring you back physically, but we can continue your legacy financially
Mhm.
because there's a statistic. They say about after a spouse dies, the head of the household dies, say the husband, the widow, about 80% of the time within 90 days, she risks losing everything if there was no insurance. So think about how many families have been impacted by that. How many families or had the wrong insurance. Now, our founder, the reason our company was founded is because our founder, Art Williams, when his father died, his mother got a $10,000 whole life policy where he could have had a $100,000 term, but nobody told him that for the same amount of money. So think about the difference that would have made in their life. And that's the crusade that actually started this business. How many families have a certain type of insurance that they're being told you're going to have this, but in reality, you don't. If you don't read the fine print, we have an expression: the big print giveth, where the fine print taketh away. Most people don't understand insurance. They see the big print. This is what I get if I die. This is what I pay. That's it.
Mhm.
So I've made it my mission to break it down. I want you to see the fine print. I want you to see what you really have so that you can make an educated decision. And that's all it is. If you know what you have and you know what you can have better, now you can make an educated decision. And that's all we are. We are education first. We want to educate you on what's available and what you have access to. And people have access through us. They have a lot more than they realize.
Absolutely. And people do not realize, just like you said, that life insurance is like a love letter, but there's also so many different vehicles where life insurance can come in very handy if there is an illness, if it's got the right rider, to be able to help get through that illness to the end of life and not have used all the life insurance benefits and things. So I know that you've got tons of wisdom and knowledge and understanding, Monique, and what you are doing. So when you are educating people and helping them to become more literate and have that understanding about the different choices and the possibilities and making some wise decisions, then I'm sure that's what you love doing, is looking at the whole picture to see where they are and potentially just to protect whatever it is that they've worked hard to be able to work towards. So when you were talking about um, generational wealth, people go, oh, that's just I just need to leave my children blah 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 blah, and I'm sitting there going, no, it's more than that too. It's even like in my situation, at 72 I'm more mature than and closer to my new permanent maintenance free temple. um and so, but I wanted to make sure that my funeral arrangements were all done, the cemetery is all done, and I've got everything written out, and I've also had conversations with my children too, so everybody's on the same page. When I leave here, um, I'm still going to be watching them, but when I leave here,
Tell them they can't
no,
get rid of you that easy.
no, what's going to go on, so you don't leave a mess. And
Right.
that's something, because people, again, my father died when I was 9. I've had a lot of death in my lifetime. My brother died at 22. My first husband was killed instantly. So I've had a lot of times where you go through, we're all going to die. I
Hmm.
mean, it's just as much part of life as being born.
Hmm.
um but it's being wise and having that information and that conversation with experts like you, Monique. So when you look at some things that people have chosen unknowingly, what are some things that you would think that people need to beware of?
The things they need to be aware of, if somebody tells you, all right, we're going to take your money and we're going to put half of it in your life insurance and half of it in an investment account. First question you need to ask, what is the rate of return on the investment account? Because 9 times out of 10, it's very low because Most agents are not securities licensed. Now I am. So I keep it separate because you always want an investment to gain the highest amount that it can based on S&P and other factors. If it's at 4% and inflation's at 6, you're already 2% behind.
Mhm.
So you're already behind the eight ball. Now, kind of piggybacking on what you were saying about leaving instructions and everything else, we also, I put programs together for families. I also advocate that they get a will. Most
Mhm.
people think of that. I don't, they think, well, I don't have anything. Here's the thing. If you are a parent and something happens to you and there is no will in place, the state can
Takes your children.
decide
Mhm.
who raises your children.
Yep.
That's why you need to have a will. And here's something else a lot of people didn't know. If you have a child before they hit 18, you need to do a health care power of attorney. Because once that child turns 18, if something happens to them and they become incapacitated, you technically have no say in their medical care.
Mhm.
That's still your baby. But by law, if there's no healthcare power of attorney, you have no say, and the hospital can do what they want. That's scary.
I'm going to write that down. Now, everybody, you need to hear that one more time.
Okay,
If
I'll
you
totally
have
get.
children
If you
and
have
they turn
children, once
18,
they turn 18, you need to have a healthcare power of attorney for that child so that if something happens, you will have say in their health care because once they turn 18, legally, you have no say. Couples also need a power of attorney, and here's
Mhm.
why. In this age of identity theft and all of this, and I've worked in a couple of industries where this is needed.
Mhm.
I'm going to give you an example. I used to work for an auto company and I did their benefits. So I had a wife call in. The husband was going into a nursing home, but she needed to access his 401k benefits. She was not power of attorney on his account.
Or
So guess what?
beneficiary or anything.
I
Mhm.
can't talk to her.
Mhm.
So that means she had to get a power of attorney. She had to send it to the automotive company. That could take weeks. Then they had to get everything set up. So you could be looking at 6 to 8 weeks. Here's the thing, Nancy. What if you didn't have 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah.
I've always lived by the adage it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Because if you need it and you don't have it, it's too late.
Mhm.
So I put together, and I put this together for families. Um, I have what I call a graduation package for people going into college. I always say you should have your insurance, you should have your investment, and you should have your legal.
Mhm.
And you can put this together for a teenager. Say you have a teenager going to college. I have a program that can put that together for them for $75 a month. So here's what it does. It gives them insurance. It gives them full legal services plus will, power of attorney, but it also sets up their investment account. So by the age of 48, this is how much they would have in their investment. This is just 25 a month for the investment. By the age of 48, they would have $89,000 in their investment account. How many 48-year-olds do you know have $89,000 just sitting there gaining interest?
Oh my gosh. I'm just writing so many fun things down that I cannot wait to share and just it's just like
And these, like I said, these are the things that I've put together. And I always say that's my trifecta because you want to make sure you have proper insurance. You want to make sure you have an investment because that way, if again, if something happens to the breadwinner, so now the family has the investment account and they have the life insurance. So they don't have to worry about, okay, do we have to worry about the kids' college fund? No, that's taken care of. Do we have to worry about losing the house? No, because that's taken care of. So it is a balance and it is a foundation that if something happens, again, we can't bring the breadwinner back, but that doesn't mean we can't keep you going financially and help with things because it's hard enough when you lose a loved one, but now you lose a loved one, you lose your house, you lose this. That's a lot of trauma that we can avoid. And the thing is, a lot of people are sick physically because of stresses over money.
I'm telling you, I've been in health and wellness 30 something years, and stress is associated with the six top killers in this country. And
Hmm.
is and money is one of the major ones.
Hmm.
Can you realize what a very nice gift that would be for a graduation gift to set somebody up for $75 a month? Get them started. I can remember, Monique, when my son graduated from high school because I had UGMAs for my children. And when they turned 18, then they rolled. And I told him, I said, if you just invest $25 a month, Christopher. No, and I said he joined the Navy. I said, if you drink less than $25 a month, you can.
Give up
Uh,
one beer, give at least two beers up a day.
I said, so by the time you're 65, you will have about $1 million. And so, but but young people, I mean, can you remember back when you were 20, 18, 20? Our mind was, oh yeah, I just need to live to Friday.
We were thinking, I just want to be legal. We didn't think about that, but that's where parents and grandparents, aunts, uncles, that's where they come in because in that moment they're not thinking about it. But when they get a little older, they'll be so grateful because that's three things they don't have to worry about. And then when they get a family of their own, they're just adding the family. So the foundation has already been set. Just
Mhm,
like with families, I have a plan and it's still the same. The life insurance, the investment, the legal. For a family, say you have a mother, a father, and say two children under 18. We insure the whole family. Now, here's the lovely thing about with the children. Let's just say we do a policy for $10,000 on each child.
mhm,
That'll run about $4 a month in premium. When that child turns 18, no, sorry, when that child turns 25, that policy turns to 50,000 and they don't have to prove insurability.
yeah,
What difference can that make? And then and then at 18 you add the rest on. Well, with the legal, you can do a family policy. So you don't the only thing you're adding for them at 18 is the investment.
mhm.
So
So,
there's so many variations that we can do. I mean, that's just one of them. But there's
mhm,
so many variations, but it still gives you the same end result.
absolutely. So, what do you suggest for people? Just, what is that age like? Do you need to get this done before you're 40, preferably a long time before 40? But, people that are approaching 40, because it used to be that, you couldn't even get disability insurance after you're 40. I
Right.
mean, it's just so astronomical, but you can get certain policies that have certain riders on them in certain ways that you can arrange those things. But what is that age that you really encourage people, individuals or couples, to have this put in place?
As soon as possible. There
I,
is no, because here's the thing, you're no older than you are today.
that's it. Hmm.
The sooner you do it, because the older you get, the more it's going to cost.
Hmm.
If you're 25, don't wait till you're 35 because now you've lost 10 years of growth in your investment and now you got to pay 10 years older. Do it wherever you are today. You're not going to get any younger. You're as young as you are today.
Hmm.
Do it today. Get it done, get everything in place. It's never too late to get started,
Hmm.
but if you wait too long it could be. And again, let's be honest, tomorrow's not promised.
Nope.
It's
And
not. And we need to get those things in place where if God forbid something does happen, that's to me, that's the biggest love letter you can
hmm.
give to your child or you can leave to your family to
Hmm.
make sure that in your passing that they are financially stable to make sure they'll be taken care of after you're gone.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've known of some really sad cases over the years too, where this one in particular, the gentleman was a VP of a bank and he had a multiple six-figure income and he died suddenly without a will or without insurance. And all of a
Wow.
sudden his family was going, we're gonna have to sell the home we're in. We're gonna have to
Mhm.
do all this,
Because
um,
probate is vicious.
it
When you
is.
die without a will, if I don't know if people know, when Prince, the performer, died, he
Mhm,
had no will. The
mhm.
state took half in probate. They took half of his estate. So the state got like $75 million free money.
I
And that's
know.
why it's so important. And people think a will, you got to have a lot of assets, just like a trust. You can
Mhm,
do a trust. It doesn't require a lot of assets, but if you have people in your life that are important to you, if you have certain wishes that you want done, that's how you get it done.
mhm,
That's how families avoid getting in fights. Well, she said this. No, this is what the will said. This is what you're gonna get, and that's it. It avoids all the stress and drama because while you were still thinking about it, while it was still fresh on your mind, you got it down, you got it done, and it makes it easier on the family because that's another stressor. Death, unfortunately, brings out the worst in some people,
It is. And you,
and that
yeah,
helps them. That cleans the slate. Okay, she's already laid it out. This is what was going done. There's nothing we can do about it. Deal with it and keep moving.
I know. And just, and you mentioned something back to, and I know that have shared that for years with people because this area is very transient. I mean, we've got about a million something around this area, and people are moving in all the time. And every state is different. So if you die without a will and you've got children, the state does take your children until they decide who's going to raise them. So when people are moving in, they might have that misconception, go, this is the way it was in the state where I was. But, I think it's really important for people to take the time, when you're moving in to a new place and whatever, take the time to learn about what it is that state or requires or doesn't require or whatever it is. So, anyways, but you were just so much full of energy and knowledge and education. I just love it, Monique. And I can already tell, you have such a passion and a great desire to be able to help, just like you said, as many families and many people as you can. So I knew our time was going to run. But so is there any one repeat question that keeps coming to your mind that people always will ask you if you looked back over and reflected, what is that one question that people will pretty much ask you?
The biggest thing people want to ask or they wonder is, can I afford it? Most
Mhm.
people, when it comes to policies, either they just haven't gotten around to it, they think it's too expensive. And both are, you if you love your family, even singles, I mean, if you're single, somebody still has to bury you.
Yeah.
Somebody still got to pay for all that. So it is affordable because we don't do a cookie cutter. So everything I do is strictly based on that particular family. I have never written or put a plan together that was the same ever
Mhm.
because everybody's different.
That's right.
So the plan will be a plan is structured for you and it is affordable. We just have to take the time to get it done because once you get it done, you don't have to think about it anymore. And we do an annual review. We call once a year. Okay, has anything changed?
Mhm.
That way, if you've moved, we'll call, have you moved? Okay, let's get the new address. Let's make sure, let's get you into prepaid. Let's change your prepaid to the state you're in to make
Mhm.
sure that you're with that attorney or that jurisdiction so
Mhm.
that if anything needs to change with your will, that can be done.
Absolutely. And before we leave, a couple of other things. You might just have to come back for the next exciting episode
No
because
problem.
something else that people don't realize too is there's, so much divorce, so much everything, and people will forget about changing beneficiaries and changing some different things. So we'll have some more tips later. So, what is the easiest way, Monique, for people to get in touch with you?
The easiest way, my phone number is 980-785-7230. If call me, text me, leave me a message, I'll get right back to you.
Absolutely. And my brain has already got some people that I would love just to connect you with because when people procrastinate and put things off, just like you said, I've had so many things in place, and even this past year, I've had to make some adjustments with, for power of attorney and different things with some things that have gone on with my husband and his health. And so people don't think about changing those things after they get them in place. So there's always something to be aware of and to ask questions, and they can just call you and ask you.
Yes,
So
they can.
in the meantime, thank you so much for coming. And I want to encourage everyone else, check out some of the other Win-Win Women TV shows. We have got amazing hosts. I think we've got about 200. And this is a place for you to become educated, inspired, and just to have more knowledge. And come back and visit us, the Healthy Sales Chick, next Wednesday at 7. And get in touch with me. I absolutely love finding out what you're doing for your healthy lifestyle because we're going to celebrate it. And if there's areas that you would love to have tweaked, with 30 plus years of research and knowledge, I promise I will be able to give you some good guidance and some tips there. Come to my website, thehealthysaleschick.com, and find us. But in the meantime, I am so grateful Monique, for your willingness again to come and just spend some time with us.
Nancy, it has been my honor and my pleasure. Hopefully, maybe we can do this again. I appreciate it.
Mm.